Hey, Joey, how are you?
Hey Scott, I'm doing well, thank you. I hope you are.
I've done worse, so yeah, I can't complain. It was a nice day today. Unfortunately, I didn't have the enthusiasm or energy that I wanted to. I wanted to get out and kind of start working in the garden. It was mid 60s here in our neighborhood.
Yeah, we were up to 67 today.
Wow.
So it was nice. Beautiful day.
Let's see. I messaged a few people to remind them about our meeting tonight. We'll give them a couple of minutes here before we get started.
I'm hearing so much good, positive things about um the cannabis legislation. I can't help but get excited.
There's been a lot of conversation. I think a little more than I sort of had anticipated, and I'm really kind of happy about it. As a matter of fact, just I believe it was last evening or something, there was a flurry uh, of stories by different news outlets here in South Carolina. And I believe there had been, I think the stories were based on uh, the Herb Kurzman bill uh, and some action on that or something like that. I'm not exactly sure why all the activity. Uh, I happen to notice it today, and when I see those stories posted on Facebook, I'll usually go and comment below, "Hey, we support cannabis in South Carolina. Join us." And
Yeah, I've seen you do it. Yep.
yeah, we get it helps us draw a little attention to us. We actually tend to. Uh, gain a few extra likes to our Facebook page and things like that. So it can't
Yeah,
hurt.
it's surprising how many people don't know about that bill, the House bill.
Well, true, and
It's not getting the attention that the Senate bill is.
true. I've often sort of equated the legislature in both federal and state levels as kind of the social structure in high school, and it's the kids that the cool kids or the seniors or the things like that that tend to get
Right.
attention, and this is the third time that Senator Davis is submitting this bill. And basically, they are like, who can we find? I think, I mean, this is my take on it is they were like, who can we find to submit the companion bill on the House side? And so they found somebody acceptable to toss it to, more so than having it
Got ya.
being original thought on that particular legislator. Um, I'm not sure why the slight differences between the two on the flower versus no flower. Of course, we here at Normal support the house version of it because it does allow the smoking of flower and you know, the flower to be sold in the dispensaries, and also accommodates a couple more qualifying conditions. Um, Anyway, I want to kind of stop there for a second. I see we're at 7:05. I don't want to ramble on too much in just general conversation until I officially start the meeting, and then we can ramble on in general conversation all we want. Um, Welcome everybody who's joined us here on the call tonight. Also, anybody who may be watching us streaming live on our YouTube channel, and or anybody who's watching it recorded later on. Thank you for watching. Welcome. Uh, All of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. We do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. Close that little window there. Um, I was really kind of dragging my feet this week. My microphone down. That might be better. I was really kind of dragging my feet this week on posting a topic. Um, I think just with everything going on in politics at the federal level, with the changing of the guard, has uh, got things swirling around in my head on what the heck. Some of it I just want to turn it off. I don't want to see it. Um, I at one point I caught a little bit this morning that said something about. Um, Indicated to me that President Trump was like saying his farewell speech, and I don't know how old the post was, but I decided to wander in and into the living room and turn on the TV, and I made it in just in time to see him, uh, the plane taxi to the runway and take off. Um, Plenty of hot air for me. That's all I needed. The exhaust of that jet plane taking off. I really didn't need to see the rest of his speech. I haven't caught a whole lot of it, even in snippets afterwards. Except I guess he was honored to be president for the past 4 years. Um, and I did not really watch the changing of the guard. I think also at the same time when the plane was taking off. Uh, the president-elect, now President Biden, and his wife were at a church somewhere, and I'm not sure exactly what that was all about. I don't follow religion a whole lot. Anyway, so anyway, today is the day that we have inaugurated a new president and vice president into the White House. Today is the day that officially the deciding vote in the Senate will be Vice President Kamala Harris. Harris, a Democrat, meaning that although they're tied number of seats in the Senate, the deciding vote is a Democrat. So the Democrats are the majority in the Senate, and the Democrats are also in the majority in the House, at least for the next 2 years, with a Democratic president and vice president, and both of them having spoken out as to needing to reform marijuana laws to different degrees. And I did post late today. I don't know. I posted it to our Action Network RSVP page, and it should have sent out an email to everybody going, "Oh, somebody commented on the discussion in this," but I didn't see an email come out to me, so I don't know if that was working correctly today or not. But that we were going to be talking about federal level legislation, what now, and the what now, that kind of spurred me to then go and head over to the congressional webpage and take a peek at what is active legislation now in the 2021-2022 legislature at the federal level. Um, I don't know if it works differently at the federal level or if it works differently at um, uh, than it does at the state level, because the state level, they had a date they were starting, where here, although they know the date was inauguration was scheduled for the 20th, I didn't see any type of pre-filings, at least nothing related to marijuana. So I don't know if pre-filings is a thing at that level or not. But excuse me while I wet my whistle. There was one bill filed today, introduced today, has 0 co-sponsors. The sponsor was Representative Gregory W. Staub, a Republican out of Florida. It is HR 365, and it is basically, there it is, a bill to reschedule marijuana to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act. Um, um, doesn't solve a lot of the problems that there are with marijuana laws, and to deschedule completely is the goal. But here is another alternative from a Republican legislator. So that's out there for you all to think about. You can go and read over it. I have not to this point, so I'm knocking it maybe a little blindly, but I've already had this discussion with some of the folks up at Normal, our political advisor, political director, Justin Streckel, and Schedule 3 really doesn't resolve a lot of the issues that there are. So there is that HR 365, new bill at the federal level. When I click in on, including bills that include the word in my filter, marijuana, in the last 2019 to 2020 legislature, it gives me 102 results. I'm not sure what all those bills are. That's a heck of a lot of bills. But in and amongst them are the bills were in there before, research, veterans rights, the MORE Act, descheduling, the Safe Banking Act, and those I believe are at this moment still being redrafted and being prepared for introduction to the legislature. It's my understanding that we won't hear anything about the MORE Act being reintroduced for I forget the exact numbers. I think I was told between a month and 2 months until we actually see that being reintroduced. We're going to see the banking ones come in a little bit sooner than that, I believe by the end of February, actually mid-February. Some of those things are going to be a little bit ahead of others, maybe not as glamorous as the MORE Act, but definitely viable legislation. And we'll keep you posted on those as I see them being introduced and submitted. In the meantime, again, it is a new legislature with the introduction of the new president and vice president. So I guess very similar to our efforts at the state level, reach out to your federal level legislators and encourage them to join the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, or if they're, I believe that is a House Congressional Cannabis Caucus, and to back any marijuana legislation, especially legislation to deschedule. In just a general sense, now's the best time to just sort of lobby in that general sense with them. Here at the state level, we do know that we have I believe I counted a total of 14 bills that have some relation to marijuana to them. A couple of them are not necessarily about subjects we cover on decrim and forfeiture, civil asset forfeiture, veterans issues, and medical. But we have one on early release that came out. I guess it's some of the guidelines on early release in marijuana are being adjusted. And Senator Tom Davis talked about this one before. He has introduced Senate Bill S 268, which is basically the proposal of a statewide advisory referendum on the ballot. It would have no legislative power, but asking the voters at the state level if they believe that marijuana should be. I believe their question tends to be, should it be able to be prescribed by a doctor, which is it's generally recommended. Um, but yeah, for federal level, we do see with both the House and the Senate and the presidency under Democratic control, if we can, if we can inspire our legislators to make this enough of a priority to move it forward, as they become these bills become introduced. Um, I mean, we know obviously some of the main things already on this president's list is going to be addressing how the pandemic is being handled, or is or was being handled, and the rollout of the vaccines for the COVID-19. So, we know we won't be first on the list. As Justin from National had mentioned to me, somebody looked at him and said, hey, uh, at least now you have a target to shoot at. It might be a small and fast moving target, but you got at least a target to shoot at. So uh, we have some options on maybe getting this moved forward. I'm often asked, why didn't Obama do it during his first 2 years when he was in office? And of course, there was a major financial crisis going on at the time, and that's what our legislature was focused on. And after that first 2 years, the Democrats lost control of, I forget if it was the House or the Senate, but they lost control of one side, and that imbalance tends to put the brakes on legislation a lot of times. So that's, I think, where we are with federal. I don't know if any of you have any insight on what's going on otherwise at federal level that you could fill me in on any related, kind of bills. I do follow, for the most part, what normal national posts, and I was over on their site the other day, and under federal legislation, there was actually nothing posted, except for, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation, to uh, contact your legislators about joining the Congressional Cannabis Caucus. Let me see if they updated on this new bill yet. No, they didn't. So they haven't had an opportunity to update on HR 365, the reschedule to Schedule 3. Um, and again, no co-sponsors on that. We're hoping to see that go pretty much nowhere fast, where there's better legislation coming down the pipelines. Anybody's thoughts on marijuana legislation moving forward at the federal level, what it might mean to state legislation? Um, you can pop it in the comments, or you can turn on your mic and kind of chime in. While you're doing that, I do want to kind of point out, got a delivery today. UPS brought us our new brochures, have the new logo on it with the new name. We have modified the inside of it with, although the mission statement is a little bit different, some of the things talking about our goals has changed, and some of the other documentation in there has changed. Also, real quick plug, as I have to do, we have a drawing going on with our membership drive. Membership drive runs through January 15th. If you sign up for to become a card carrying member of South Carolina NORML, and I don't think I have my little badge here to show you right now. You will be entered into a drawing for a copy of the board game Dope Man, a game of substance, as it's called here on it. And I believe it is a 2 to 4, 2 to 6 player game. 2 to 4 player game. They recommend 18 and up, and approximately an hour game time playtime. So that is up as our drawing for our membership drive this year. Um, I'll stare off into space blankly just for a moment here. Okay. I did not sit in on our meeting with National yesterday. That was basically to talk about inclusion in our chapters and things like that. And I'm not seeing an issue per se in inclusion in our chapter. I did sit in on that same theme a couple of times in the past. So I had an opportunity to do a little bit of other work yesterday and skipped out on that one. And generally, and I did, our last meeting last Thursday was quite a bit about what's going to be happening with the new legislature. And again, it's a matter of waiting until these bills get finished being drafted. The MORE Act is addressing some questions or some concerns about taxing issues, and I'm not sure what the other fine points are. Uh, but again, we will keep you updated on those as they come out. And I don't want to cut us off at 20 minutes. Geez, it's such a short conversation this week. Do I have anything else to bring up? Not really federal level. Um, Anybody watch the inauguration? Has anybody uh, heard anything down the pipeline about marijuana and the inauguration? I did get a comment from somebody on somewhere. Oh, I think somebody sent me a message through our email. Um, Saying that, oh, Trump would have legalized it, but it's too late for that now. And I'm thinking, my thought actually, and you may recall from some of our older conversations, is that he would have done it just before the elections in November, and try and pull some of that vote. Uh, I don't know. That might have helped him find 11,880 votes or whatever it was in Georgia. Uh, it might have actually done the trick for him. I don't know. Um, but that would have been my prediction if he was going to do it. He wouldn't have waited into the second term. He would have done it as a mechanism to secure that second term. So I am kind of surprised that it didn't go in that direction. Um, I think a big part of that may have been just the pushback from, interestingly to me, the Republican Party at the federal level versus the Republican Party here in the South Carolina state level. We've actually got a lot more support for the medical marijuana, and actually both the bills, the House and the Senate version, were sponsored by Republicans. Um, the Democratic medical marijuana bill, the Put Patients First bill that was introduced by Rutherford. I don't even think that has any co-sponsors, um, where the others are gaining sponsorship and they're moving forward, and that's what's getting a lot of the news reporting that we're seeing here at the state level. The big thing, really, for us to do, I think, at the state level, is to for federal for our federal purposes is to push Representative Clyburn as the House Majority Whip to rally the troops. That's kind of one of the jobs of what the whip is supposed to do, is to kind of whip everybody in line, and make sure that they're voting for, voting along party lines and voting for issues that are of concern. Um, I believe he did that when the MORE Act came up back in December. Although I'm not sure how enthusiastically, and we'd like to kind of definitely ramp up that enthusiasm. Um, but to keep on Clyburn, so that as legislation does move through, he does whip the troops into order, and we get that passed through the House again. Um, Senate Majority Leader. Who's the new Senate Majority, or the new Senate Majority Whip? The new Senate Majority Leader is, oh, I want to say Adam Chandler, and that's not it. Shift. Um, oh, give me 1 second. We have somebody coming in. Bear with me a moment. Okay. Schumer's going to be the new Senate Majority Leader. And the whip, Dick Durbin, it appears to be. He is a Democrat out of Illinois. So these are kind of the two, the people in the Senate and in the House at the federal level that even as just a voter at the general level, you may not be their constituent. Clyburn is in district, I want to say 6, which is kind of adjacent to the one I'm in. Um, so you want to sort of address your representative and your senators. Our senators here. Excuse me. We got Tim Scott. We have Lindsey Graham. Do we have any other senators here in the state, or just the two of them? Those will be challenges to get any votes for marijuana. At the last minute before election, I did see an email response from Lindsey saying that he was supporting for medical wishy-washy. I forget exactly what some of it was, but as a lot of you know, they're starting to call flip-flops here near the beach areas Lindsey Graham's, the way he's flip-flopping on issues left and right. So, now that he's voted back into office, I'm sure that he's sort of reverting back to his previous. I would hope not, but I would hope, like many of our legislators, his thinking is evolving and becoming more accepting, especially for the medical benefits. And also, I would hope, and I don't expect it necessarily from Lindsey. I would expect it more from Tim Scott to see the hypocrisy of locking people up for simple possession of a plant that doesn't seem to harm anybody. But that's kind of where we need to go, I think, at the federal level at this point, because we don't have any active legislation except for that one new House bill. Is we'll be kind of waiting for that to be introduced, and so let's just go ahead and lobby our legislators in general at the federal level, educate them. My new House representative is Nancy Mace. I had actually met Joe Cunningham a couple of times, and I had an opportunity to give him a copy of the book that we get from National Emerging Clinical Applications for Cannabis and Cannabinoids. As we have mentioned on this call a few times in the past, it is a little bit backdated. I believe copyright on this is 2017 or so, um, or the research ran through like 2017. So there's been a lot more research done in the past 3 years. But it's a good base as far as I'm concerned. So I'm donating, it's $10 a copy. So I'm donating a couple of bucks here to get one out to Nancy Mace and get one out to, I forget now, Skylar Whitmore, I believe, is another one of my new representatives here at the state level. And I'm going to send one again to Sandy Sen, Bob. I'm going to send one again to Sandy Sen. I don't think it'll do any good, but I'm going to send her one. I just thought you'd want to know. So there's that. If you want to send one to your legislator, you let me know. You can order one on our website, and then put in the notes that indicate which one of your legislators you'd like us to ship it to. Matter of fact, we'd be willing to cover the shipping on it. So contact us and we can give you a discount code and to put in there so you don't pay the shipping. We will. Um, but we'd like to get these out to our legislators across the state and and at a federal level. Yeah, it's at least another starting point. And if any of you have any other information that you'd like us to, or you think would be pertinent to send along to legislators in a nice condensed form, um, we'd be willing to work on that and putting something together. Just the fact that we're having these cannabis conversations on a regular basis has drawn a little bit more activity and some people watching us on uh, our YouTube later. We've added a new member to our board, and we've had inquiries into another new member to our board. So I'm hoping to get um, some of our administrative um, staff kind of organized. And that way, we won't have some of these issues that you have with me on a pretty regular basis where I'm kind of fly by the seat of the pants. We're hoping to get a secretary on the board that will help me schedule and, kind of um, be able to predetermine and pre-schedule some of our meetings are so that we can inform you a little bit more about it and maybe even give you some links or some documentations to look at referring to those subjects before we get into the conversation. So we're crossing our fingers with some of that moving forward. Matter of fact, on my email, I do have another email, or do I actually have it open? I closed it again, but I have another inquiry from somebody who just became a new member and is looking to looking for volunteer opportunities. And a volunteer coordinator is also something that we're looking for as well. So, I mean, I don't know if this person's looking for that or not, but putting it out there, if anybody likes to kind of coordinate activities, uh, we're always looking for help. That's kind of what I have for you tonight as far as what's next for federal level. What do we do now? That I hate to say it, it's kind of a hurry up and wait. I'm very excited with things that are going on, all the legislation that was pre-filed at the state level, all the legislation that's kind of coming down the pipeline at the federal level, the fact that we have um, majority control of the House and the Senate. And the presidency all in the same party. That just helps legislation move forward. And I'm glad that it happens to be at this point the Democratic Party for marijuana legislation, only because historically you don't see a lot of proposed legislation about marijuana law reform from the Republican Party, uh, except in South Carolina. So there's that. Um, we're going to oops, um, excuse me. Uh, we're going to hope that we've got some momentum behind us after the MORE Act passed in December, and we'll keep you posted as it goes from there. I'm not going to ramble on anymore because I think I'm already starting to ramble now. I look forward to seeing you all back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. I will try and be a little bit more timely on posting a topic. We're rolling toward the end of the month, and uh, oh, real quick note, we will probably be talking somewhat about South Carolina Normal's Lobby Day. Um, Cannabis Forward was supposed to have their lobby day, a virtual lobby day, scheduled for today. And then they decided to like shut down the state house for security reasons during the inauguration. I did see an interesting kind of someone else shared that post about it, and then they were reminded, oh, this has been postponed, or and they went, hey, their voicemail's still there. So Reminder, even if they're not in the office, their voicemail box will still pick up. You can leave them a message and you can lobby by voicemail if you need to. But we are going to schedule ours for February 3rd. We are working on some scripts for both letters and telephone calls to post to our political action page on our Facebook, or not on our Facebook, but on our website, normalsc.org. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll probably be talking about that a little bit more next week and get some lobbying going, get our legislators. As I put it in our newsletter, we don't want them to get too comfortable in their seats before or get lost with all the new legislation coming down the pipeline. So now's the time for action, folks. Now's the time to kind of get moving. At the state level and the federal level, it's not far behind. That's all I have for you tonight. Watch for us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget, if you miss our meetings live, you can always watch them on our YouTube channel. Thank you again for joining me, Scott Weldon with South Carolina Normal. We'll see you next week.